evolved the Oak Island universe is that type of person. You guys, I can tell, you're that type of person. You hear a story like this, you latch onto it like a dog, and you're just like, let's go. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you want it to be solved tomorrow. And yes, who doesn't want to find a chest of gold? Of course we do. Of course, everyone does. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. These things are hard. And so it's taking what it's taking. And that is, in this case, 10 years.
Right. How does it affect us in changing of the history or getting down to the nitty gritty of the history?
It won't change history. It will explain.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you. That's what I was
it will explain parts of North American history you've never thought about.
See, I can't. The History Channel could not have come up with a better teaser than we just did right here. So I tell you what, stay tuned, folks, because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey everybody, Jeff here with The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream and J-Free 906 and Tom Burns and Colin Jamieson here with us tonight. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone.
You guys are, everybody's batting down the hatches, I guess. We got a winter storm that's moving across the United States right now. Somebody in the chat, I think, said it was in Denver or blowing through Denver right now. I heard some really nasty temperatures here. I saw in the chat just a few minutes ago about Denver. So, oof. What are you guys supposed to get up there from this? Have you heard?
I'm supposed to get wind and rain mostly here in southern New Brunswick. We're supposed to get about 100-kilometer-hour winds here Friday and Saturday. So that's enough to knock a few trees down probably. But, hopefully it's rain and not snow.
Yeah.
In the bay, they're calling for 60, 70 mile an hour or 100, 120-kilometer winds. It seems to be moving, compressing more into Friday. Before it was like late Friday night into Saturday. It seems to get a little earlier and not as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so far, we've been lucky here. There's been no snow whatsoever yet this year in the Mahone Bay, Oak Island area anyway.
Yeah. You got about 8 inches, right, Tom?
Yeah, we've got enough here to share if somebody wants some.
Yeah, the snow's still here. I was told I'm not allowed to complain. I'm actually in I'm actually in Florida right now, and I'm wearing a hoodie. So what does that tell you? Okay,
move on.
just from everyone watching, Jeff before the show was complaining that it was so cold in Florida. So us Canadians said, Jeff, you're not allowed to complain. If you're in Florida, you're not allowed to complain about the cold. Nothing. You're not allowed.
Yep. All right. Well, I won't complain then. All right. I'll just keep the hoodie on. I got the Maury Vineyards sporting them. He calls this thing the Big Woody. The Big Woody. He makes these corkscrews, and they're the piece of wood on it's like that long. It you ain't big around. It's a great big thing, and he calls them the Big Woody. Well, that's what that is on the front there. But anyway, so I had to sport the hoodie today. So I wanted to throw a few shout outs to some folks out there. Again, Paula was first one out. Hey, Paula, Jan,
first one at the gate. Yeah, Jack Campbell's here. Hello, Jack.
Jack Campbell. All right. Good.
My brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a picture. He had a picture he sent around to us the other day, and that was really good to see a picture of you, Jack, with the grands and stuff. That was really awesome. Good to see that. So we're glad you're on the mend for sure. Wade's here with us. Kathy's here. Kathy said, "Did you hear about Franco Harris?" No, I had not until Kathy said Franco Harris passed away today. If any of you know who Franco Harris is from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he passed away today. That's a sad thing. Let's see who else. Go ahead.
Big ask. Please, anyone that watching, please tell me where you're from. I always love to see in the chat where people from all over the world are kind of on. So I'm very curious.
Oh, you know what? I didn't bring up the shoot. I forgot to do that. Let me
we get Tara here from PEI. We know where Tara's from. Michelle. Who else we got here? Scroll. Oh, Jeff Babineau. Everybody knows Jeff Babineau. We don't need to say where he's from. Jack, Jan, of course. Jan is out there watching stuff. I think I saw Sharon from Maine. Yeah, Sharon Irving Thompson. She's in Maine.
All right.
Curtis.
David. Yeah, David Gallion said, first time here before the start. All right. Welcome.
To say someone from Norway, Anita from Norway. That's fantastic.
Wow.
California, Michigan, Denver. That's awesome.
Saskatchewan.
Florida.
Here's
Nice.
Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not far from there. And fire in the fireplace. See?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
the only one.
You Floridians complaining about the cold, man. Oh man, I don't know.
Oh, well, your blood gets kind of thin. Of course, I've only been down here for less than a week. So, all
Listen,
right. But
I
anyway.
guarantee you, Wade Buckle from Saskatchewan wins the award of the coldest place in the planet. I'm sure it's cold out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, just remember all that cold air is going to pass through Saskatchewan to get to the States. So
That's right.
I know. Hey, Jess is here. Hi, Jess. How you doing? Jess Grollo.
I see
her
Sherry
husband, Mike.
Dale.
Yeah.
Sherry / Dale Kearney's here.
Yeah, we never know which one of them it
Yep.
is. Probably. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. OK Uber's here. Hey, how you doing? Mike O. From
Jim Barlow's in Tennessee.
Yeah. 71 here in SoCal. Yeah, okay. They got the good weather over there.
Jim, no relation to Scott Barlow by chance?
Winston. Yes, Harris, the Immaculate Reception. Yes, that's who. That's exactly right. Yep. Wow, a lot of chat. Thanks, guys, for being here tonight. So we're gonna kind of chop our way through, dig deeper into episode number 6 of the Curse of Oak Island, of course, over the Muon. And you know, I'm going to say it now. I actually, before I say that now, I'm going to say, if you guys would like to help support the show, please click. We have our Patreon channel. You can go out there, patreon.com, and it's jfree906 out there if you want to help support the show. And I do very much appreciate the patrons that I do have. Thank you so very much. It does help a lot to help pay for all of this, putting the show on and everything every week. So I really do appreciate that very much. And we also wanted to say, click on that subscribe button for us. You know, it's kind of funny. You take a look at the amount of people that watch the show, and then you see how many are, I go through the analytics on YouTube and I look at it and how many are subscribed and how many are not. And it's about 50-50. It's kind of funny. But anyway, subscribing is great. Love it. And one of these days I'm going to get a membership thing going, but I'm not really, anyway, I'll skip that. But someday I probably will do the membership thing. But they do have that available. But also, it's the likes. If you click on that like button, if you like the content of our show that we're doing here for you tonight and every night, you click on that like button. Excuse me. That does help a lot because it helps with the YouTube algorithms. The more likes you get, the more likely they are to promote your show out there to other people looking for Oak Island related stuff. So if you click that like button, it gets us more attention from YouTube and the algorithm. So that's something that we really appreciate the likes. So if you give that, if you don't like the show, then I guess you could give it a thumbs down, but we do appreciate the likes very
What's
much.
not to like? What's not to like?
I know we got Colin and Tom here. What is not to like, right?
There you go. The Canuck connection.
That's
The
right.
Canuck connection. Exactly. Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, with that said, I did want to say that, you guys know that I love to speculate. I talk about that so frequently, probably too much, overplay it, but I do like to speculate. And finally, last time I had a speculation that was wrong, not too long ago. Now I got a speculation that was right. And I'm going to point that out as we get to it here in just a little while. Thank you, Kate. That was awesome. Super sticker from Kate. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. So, all right. So we got the storm coverage out of the way. So hopefully you guys, I'll be watching too, make sure you guys don't get too bad. But again, the winds, I mean, you guys just went through the hurricane not that long ago, Fiona. And so now you're turning around and getting high winds and storm coming through. So not good stuff. Definitely don't want to see anything bad happen. It was bad enough as it was the first time around. Allegedly Annie from Ohio, Northern Ohio. Welcome. Glad to see you here tonight. Appreciate it. All right. So let's see if I can do this correctly. All right. There we go. All right. So we're going to kick it off. Episode number 6 over the Muon. And of course, as you can imagine with that name, this particular show had a lot to do with the Muon technology. Right off the bat, the guys start off in the money pit, and Rick comes out there and he meets up with Paul and Simon to go over a little bit of where they are and what they've got going on. And something that Tom and I talked about a little bit last week was that I was really impressed with the way that they were rebuilding or refurbishing the shaft, the garden shaft.
Yeah.
And they're using the same size timbers, they're using the same layout, and it's really cool that they're keeping that same look and feel to it as it was originally built. I thought that was really cool. That they're doing that. And one of the things that there's been a lot of people saying that the garden shaft is the money pit. No, they're not saying that. They have not said that at all. As a matter of fact, on the show last night, Rick even emphasized this is the garden shaft as it was when they first dug it up. Dan Henske showed it to him, but Rick even emphasized on the show last night. He said that he would love the garden shaft to be the original money pit or the entrance to the money pit, but that is yet to be determined. So there you go. But the fact that they found wood and again, I was a little off on that. I was trying to think about the wood that they found, and they talked about that big chunk of wood that they found. They said it was at the bottom of the garden shaft. Yeah. And I don't remember. They never had this completely dug out before, not to my knowledge anyway. Yeah. So I'm wondering how they got that piece of wood out of there. But they did date wood out of there to 1735, 60 years before the money pit was discovered. Yeah. So what does that tell us? I don't know. I mean, does it mean that this particular shaft was there prior to them finding the money pit? I don't know. It
could very well be. Well, I mean, we know the approximate age of the wood, right? So, I mean, you're not going to use a 60-year-old tree to, or 60 years after a tree is cut down to start putting a tunnel in, right, or a shaft. So, sometime prior to that.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Because the wood would not be worth using at that point if it was that many years after it was cut down. Yeah. So when they get that dating from the chronology, then they can actually get an idea of when that tree was actually used, just within a few years of when they date it, more than likely. So in 2017 is when they found it. Dan Henske took them down there, and Agorsis was kind of looking back and covering over some older stuff. And you can see some of the pieces of wood there. And then when they dug it down a little bit further, they saw this here, and now they're just adding to this and rebuilding this whole thing, which I think that's really cool the way they're doing it. And
well, the top's going to rot off, right, with the constant, freeze, thaw, wet, dry. The top's going to rot right off it. So just rebuild that top.
Yeah, exactly. All this stuff right here. It's kind of neat how, and we'll talk about this as we go along through the show tonight about how they're working this and now what they're going to do to get down and dig it down deeper and deeper. So it's really cool. And we open it back up again. And there you can see they put the concrete in there. They built the walls. We saw these walls, all these wooden walls that they put down, and then they put the steel around here, the steel I-beams and whatnot. And this is going to support the whole structure when they pour the concrete. Everything's going to be supported. And this will be a permanent, obviously, because of the concrete. It's going to be a permanent structure from this point forward. Whether they find what they're looking for at the bottom of this thing or not, my guess is this is going to be a permanent fixture on the island from this point on.
Yeah. It'll make a heck of a tourist attraction.
It will make a heck of a tourist attraction. Yeah. I would love to see it, personally.
I wouldn't be surprised that once they get the tour groups and stuff back open, that this will be, a thing that people can actually go down to, the 80-foot mark or whatever, and see some of the original tunnels going off it. I think it's going to be just very cool.
If that is something that they allow the public to do, I mean, that would be fantastic. I really, I would absolutely love that. To see that. I'm excited for them to be able to go down in here. When Rick asked them, or I should say Marty asked them, is this going to be able to have us team members get down there? And he said, yes. I'm happy for them. I would love to see it myself, but man.
Yeah, that's a lifelong dream for them right there.
Oh yeah, and Rick especially. I mean, he is. You saw him standing there, when he was out there talking to Paul and Simon, and they were talking about this right before he told Billy, "All right, let's get out of here and let these guys get back to work." The look on his face, thinking about the fact of getting down in there. I mean, he was all smiles. I mean, he's really excited about that, as you can imagine. Yep, exactly. So in the money pit over there, we're going to stick on the money pit for a little while here. So the wood they found at the bottom of it at some point, I don't remember when they found that piece of wood, was dated to about 1735, 60 years prior to the finding of the money pit, and also the gold content that was found in the water sample from down there. Dr. Ian Spooner found good heavy content of gold in the water that was taken from down there. So there you go. And that's the thing, we kind of talked about that a little bit in the past couple of shows, that if the treasure had been removed, which was kind of the way I was always leaning to the fact that the treasure may be gone already, and they're just going to find the chamber where it was, then you wouldn't have that high content of gold in the water, would you?
No, they have to somehow explain where this gold content is coming from. Exactly. Gold and or silver.
I think someone said before a theory about a ancient mine or something that was there. I don't know. Could be.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have made the speculation that that there was no money pit, there was no chamber and chest of gold or anything like that, or religious artifacts or anything down there. It was simply mining for gold here. I don't buy into that one. But
any of the gold mining shows that I have watched, like, it doesn't seem that the makeup of the earth, the ground there, is where you'd normally mine for any kind of gold.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so.
In the Lacey mines, which is as the crow flies, only a couple of kilometers away from there, my grandfather, just before the World War II, actually worked in the mines, a gold mine in the area. Now, don't get me wrong, Oak Island is an island, and it's a very odd spot to be putting a mine, especially a mine of that age, but there's certainly been mining operations in the area for gold specifically.
Yeah. And I've heard tell that there is still a little bit of gold found in the Gold River. I guess that's still, checked into a little bit, but
the Lacey mines and Gold River is kind of connected in that same spot, but yeah, there's still old mine shafts and stuff there. You can see.
Let's see. I'm gonna go back to this shot right here while I bring up this one's a big one. So, hello, fellow oak nuts. Happy holidays and happy New Year. Yes, thank you. Has anyone looked into Renee Duke and I don't know. Some names there, Jerusalem. Okay, I don't know.
No.
I would imagine some of the fellow researchers have, but I can't. I don't know. Let's see. Several mines in Colorado, California, where they give tours. Yeah, I've been down in an old mine before myself, and it's interesting. I find it very interesting to go down in those things, but it is. And we didn't. I don't know if we had to sign waivers or anything like that, but I mean, once they open it up and make it, if they were to ever make it an attraction, they would make it safe for people to walk down in there.
They'd have to put it different. Yeah, you wouldn't be climbing up down ladders. They'd have to put a staircase or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh yeah, Jan said I'd much rather pan for gold in the stream than go down underground. Claustrophobic, yeah. I've been. Have either of you been on a caving tour where you go
No,
down in caves underground?
Yeah.
no, I have not.
Yeah,
I've
Colin,
been
you're a big
I've,
guy too. You're 6'7" or whatever. I'd be.
I've been in caves, when I was younger, but not on any kind of a tour.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of young guys with flashlights.
yeah. I went to the Mammoth Caves and went down in there, and we did the Wild Cavers tour, which was like a 6-hour tour down underground. We actually ate lunch while we were down there. They had a little thing, a snack lunch for you to eat while you were down there. But and we crawled through some spaces that were tiny. I mean, it was pretty unnerving at some points, but I loved every minute of it. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Keith. I did that too. Yeah, Keith said that's what he did. Yeah, Mammoth Caves in Kentucky. That's where I was. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. Splunking, they call it. Yeah, 6 hours, Jess. Yeah, exactly right. It was 6-hour tour. A 3 hour. Okay, so they got the concrete pad. They're working on that, getting that thing all set up. And Rick was told that the rehab of the shaft that they were going to do there, they were going to be drilling probe holes below them at 16 to 20 feet deep. The probe holes were to allow them to check for anything abnormal and for voids. I'm assuming, did you guys catch that part? Are they talking about the probe holes in the garden shaft? Is that where they're going to
think so,
drill
yeah.
them?
I
So
think what they're going to do is before they start hammer grabbing stuff out,
yeah.
they're going to do these probes to make sure that there's not a void or something right beneath them that they're going to have to drop a camera into.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't mention about sending any probes out to the side, though. Right?
Yeah, very good
They're
point.
just clearing the shaft vertically right now.
Yeah. Don't think they want to have any big, an empty void right underneath. They put all weight on it and then have it collapse in on itself.
Yeah. I just yeah, lateral pole. Winston said lateral probe holes as well. Okay.
Okay, maybe they did
As they
comment on
go.
that. Okay.
Yeah, I missed that part. That's why I was wondering if they were what they meant with that. After the platform is finished in the water and debris is removed from the shaft using a 109-ton crane and a 3-ton hammer grab, the shaft will be waterproofed and then built at 8-foot intervals to a depth of about 80 feet. And so that's going to be really cool. I'm really can't wait.
It's going to be something to see it when it's done.
Oh man, will it ever? And that's part of it. And I know, and we were kind of talking about this earlier. Colin has, as many of you know, Colin goes around in his boat, and he goes around and he takes pictures on the weekends or when the guys aren't working because it's, he's being respectful to them. But he goes around and takes pictures, and he did this last year. We're still right now, as based upon some pictures that we'll be showing here in I can show them now actually. That they are just now at the point. Let me show this picture. There we go. This picture here was taken on June 25th.
Yeah.
And this was the crane had just arrived and was put up in right above the money pit there. And then there is, let's see, this one is on the 23rd and the crane's not there yet. So thank you, Colin, for this, because it gives us a timeline, a better timeline of exactly when we are seeing the show right now. So the crane, as you all know, the crane shows up at the end of the show last night. And so that would be right about the 24th or 25th of June when that happened.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
No, I was thinking it's kind of cool because you get a kind of because we know that the guys end up working there till October and even into November, into the season. So, I mean, it took the first 6 episodes to get from really, I'll say May and June. And here we are it'll be the first. So next episode will be early July is where that will be.
Yep. Yeah. But that's really cool because we often wonder about that as the show goes along. Just where are they in the season? And we know sometimes they jump around. We've seen that in past seasons where, one scene will have green, lush trees, and then the next one will be hardly any growth on them at all in the spring. We know they do jump around a little bit, but it does give us an overall timeline of when they are going to be when they are there, when we can relate to the show
Yeah.
time frame. So this is really good to see that.
I was saying earlier, like I was really, I don't know, mesmerized by the fact of like when they started taking material out. So the big crane, like they're doing whatever digging in the garden shaft, making the tunnel, and the crane is picking the extra material out and putting it into a dump truck.
Yep.
And I was saying, like, man, those guys, because they're typically filming the show from kind of a Monday to Friday,
Yeah.
8, 9 to 5 type of thing. You'll see in the weekends and holidays, there might be a team with some drones or something there getting some footage while there's no one there on the island.
Yep.
But that crane was hauling material like Saturday into the evenings.
Oh, wow.
There's a few times we were on like a long weekend, like the Labor Day long weekend on the holiday Monday or whatever it was. And that crane was still moving material.
I was wondering if maybe that would be because they fell behind a little bit, because they mentioned early on that about how many days was it they said, Tom, that they
were supposed to do the whole thing in like it was 50 or 55 days.
Yeah.
They were supposed to do the whole shaft in 50 to 50. So, I mean, it could be that, they get into this thing and there's more work there than they thought. And contractors are working on a fixed price contract, right?
Well, but remember when Rick was saying, when we put the shaft down, and let's say they're going to go down 80 feet, are we going to be able to tunnel out away from that?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, no, 100%. Once we have it in place, we can do that. So for me, and I'm kind of watching them from the summer into the fall, and it was late. I mean, even in October, they were still moving material. So you went from really, I'll say July, August, September. I was in October, and they were still moving material.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Wow.
So I say, could it be they finished the shaft? They clearly by that stage are going to have, which I'm the most exciting episode that I'm waiting for is the results of the Muon technology.
Yes, me too. Yes.
But are they going to find a shaft that's within the proximity of their because clearly they do the garden shaft, they do it 80 feet. I think we all know that's going to happen. And do they end up tunneling away? I think they do, just because of the time period in which they're doing. Because to your point, Tom, they said 55 days from, so really by middle of August, they should have had the garden shaft completed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I've always said. That's what I always said. If that took 55 days, what did they do for the other 90?
Yeah. What were they digging at the end of, September, October? What were they digging up?
Right.
And there were lots of rumors floating around locally that, there were some very excited people on the island. Now they were headed locked down like Fort Knox, but anyway, I think there's some big things to come myself.
Yeah. Well, you figure too that once they start to move laterally, then they are going to have to move material back to the garden shaft so that the hammer grab can get it. So they're still going to be having to remove that, get that stuff moved over. So, that operation that'll keep that crane moving all summer, all and into the fall, obviously, as it did. Some people were asking about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and all this time, pray you don't hit a flood tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Deidre says that the date on, and she would be the one to catch this, the date on Steve's computer screen was July 11th. So there you go. They do jump around a little bit. That's no doubt about it. We know that. And somebody else wonder when the osprey nest shows up. We'll see that on the show. I don't know. I have to go back and look at that video that I did, that one video that was showing that. I'll have to go back and see when that was dated, because that was right after it was built. I think the osprey nest showed up there. So, Leah says hi. Hey, Leah, how you doing? The crane was there on my tour. I took with Tony's, and that was mid-July. Yep, it was.
Yeah.
Let's see. And not to mention, I found it. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to the lot 8 stuff here in just a few, and let's push on. So I grabbed this picture here simply because I love to get the orientation of where they're drilling. Sometimes it's hard to tell, and this was one of those shots where you see how far over to the. I guess this would be towards the south, maybe southeast. I'm assuming. Um, that they are drilling, and this is way over from where they have been. They spent all their time in all the past seasons, and we'll see this on one of the pictures that shows it's the paper drawing of all the drills, and it shows the walking of the drill as it goes down. And you see this, and there's just a zillion drill holes, but they're all over more towards the west, the north, and to the west.
Almost like they're in no man's land.
Yeah, exactly. And is Craig Tester and his drill program that decided them to keep moving this way, because they were just getting no results, not really good results where they were before. So
I think left. So looking at that to the left of where it is, like on the other side of the road, that's where because Smith's Cove's that way to the left of the picture.
Yeah.
And they've got that big sunken depression on the other side of the road that's there that they always, in previous seasons, they said it, perhaps a collapsed, tunnel or void or whatever on the other side of that. So there's tunnels running from Smith's Cove over there, and yeah, it is very interesting what they're doing that far up.
Yeah. So this is the hole they were working on when they got going here. This was N.5 by 17.5. Yeah. Did you ever? We're gonna have to get Deidre to get him to Stephen to explain this numbering system. I know they had to add on because they jumped outside of their original grid, so they had to come up with something more. Yeah, N.5-17.5, which is located approximately 75 feet south of the garden shaft, which is why I'm thinking it's that one, because it's way over there, and the garden shaft is way over on the other side of Billy Gerhardt's water truck. So I'm thinking it's probably that one right there that they're working on. And as you know, and I think it shows in this picture. Yeah. So here we go with this is where they have the sonar down there, and they got the sonar images of what looks like a tunnel. And they keep showing this one where I'm looking at this going, it's more running this way if they follow a straight line, but we don't know it doesn't, elbow again. And go. So it's elbowing right here. Obviously, it went from, and it changed a little bit northerly, more, northerly track. But they're following it, and they're running these drill holes all the way along to see if they can follow that track. And of course, I could look at this picture all day. I just love this picture because
it's an amazing shot. It really is.
It is an amazing shot. I love this picture because and that is wood down there. That is a tunnel, and that is a partial collapse of a tunnel. But that is it's awesome to finally see this right here. That where they get a camera down there and see this and show us that they knew what they were chasing. They knew what they were after, and now they've got visual proof of it. So that's just so cool. Yeah, I understand the grid naming system, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I agree. And so they're working on this particular one, N.5, 17.5. They do find some wood. Let's see. According to the sonar, I lost my place here. Terry explains to them they've hit a tunnel and they have found what looks like to be the base support of that's this picture here. They hit a tunnel and what looks to be the base support and vertical beam that is above undisturbed. They have undisturbed material above it. Terry explains that the vertical beam is 99 to 103. Now they were chasing that. They were chasing that other shaft, the one that's shown in the sonar image. Or I'm sorry, tunnel, not shaft. They were chasing that other tunnel, and they were hitting it at 103. Now they're hitting one at 99, the top of it at around 99, which is making them, there might be two. What were you going to
Yeah.
say, Colin?
No, is it the shaft is just migrating at an angle? I don't know,
That's
it
kind of what
seems-
I was thinking, but they seem very. I mean, you see them go around the table, and Steve and everybody, and they were like, "Yeah, two shafts, two shafts, two shafts."
But we
They're
don't know
they're
what direction
at-
that's going in. If that's a second shaft or a second tunnel, right? We don't even know what direction it's going in.
right.
What's everybody's best guess on the results of the Muon technology of the scans? Like, when do you guys think we'll see? Because I mean, here they are, we're drilling holes every which way to Sunday, trying to figure out where the tunnels are. My understanding is the Muon results should, in theory, show exactly, here's the tunnel, here's this, here's that, here's.
Yep.
But yet we're spending, I don't know, a lot of money and time and effort taking guesses.
Yep.
Does this indicate that the Muon sensor results are not going to be what we're hoping they're going to be, or is it?
I don't know. They haven't.
really
And the
good?
thing is, they haven't. And he even mentioned, as I was watching the show again, Robert Clotworthy, as he's doing the narration, he even mentions again that it'd be several months. So if you're talking June, several months before they get that data back,
Hmm.
I mean, would they even see it this year? I'm hoping. I'm like you. I want to see that. I want to see that data, and will
Yeah.
it show them what we're seeing with the putting the camera and the sonar image down?
I was under the impression that those sensors got put in last year.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, they did.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I'm under the impression. I don't know for sure, but I remember from us, in previous last season when we were doing this,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure we watched them. We knew the areas which they even put the sensors into.
Yeah, that's what we're
Uh,
trying to figure out, Jim.
I wonder
exactly.
if this is a second set of sensors. If they put one set in, got results, didn't get results, weren't favorable results, whatever, and this is a second set.
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of curious, or is
Yeah.
there anybody that's kind of watching on the YouTube or Facebook that's done a little bit more research on the Muon tech to say, is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 12 months? I don't know. It seems like a long time because it was last fall, which would have been, let's say October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're already at least 8 months approximately into it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's curious too, because I know. Well, I go back to last summer or last season, and
Yeah.
when they had was it the guys from Prometheus were out there, and they were out there with Matty Blake, and it was a drilling down, and they were standing there by the money pit, and the one guy pointed over his shoulder, and he was talking about what they were doing right at that moment. He said, "This is going to be a game changer, what they're doing." They were at
That's what
that
I
time.
mean.
We found out later
Yes.
they were.
Yes.
What's that?
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I mean. It was like
Yeah.
last year they were doing
It
this.
was last year. They were drilling a hole down by the south shore of the money
Yeah.
pit, and they were putting in a muon sensor.
Yeah.
And they were supposedly put in another one over by Smith's Cove.
Yep.
When they put the 5 in the money pit, I'm not sure, but it had to be at the end of last season, somewhere around that time frame. So you would figure that those have been in there for, well, now about a year at today's date. But back in the summertime, it would have been, gosh, that would have been at least 9 months, I would think, something like that. But let me see if we can figure that out. Yeah, they may have gotten delayed. Dave Petrella says they may have been delayed. You're right, they may have been. So I don't know. We'll have to. Maddie was there in September talking about that muon. Yeah, Tara said that. Yep.
Mhm.
So and that's right. So I don't know, but it's. I'm really curious to see what they come up with, and that was one of my speculations that I'd missed on missed the bat on. I struck out on that one because I was thinking that what they were doing now, following this tunnel, was because of the muon technology data that they got, and they hadn't even had it yet. So I missed the boat on that one.
So I guess in the meantime, because everybody's hopeful that you're going to get some nice clear diagrams, pictures, whatever you want to call them, back from the sensors. What do you do when the several months premium sit back on your hands and wait for it, or do you keep looking?
Yeah,
I'd keep looking. I'd keep
Yeah.
drilling. I'd keep looking.
You
True.
betcha. Yep, absolutely. So this is that.
It's going to make for a pretty boring show to sit there and watch those concrete caps.
What are we doing today? Well, yeah, we're all watching. We're all watching Gary because there's nothing else to do while we wait for the data to come. So we're watching Gary go around lot 8. But anyway, so this is that track they're following, and they were hitting that. Shows these 4 red dots are the boreholes where they actually hit the tunnel at 103 feet. So they're following it that direction. So they know what the first one was M16.25, and then they're making their way up and they're following it along during this track. Now, later on in the show, they actually go up and drill this one, F.25 dash 14.14. Okay. And they actually hit, this is the one where they hit it about, it was at 99 feet. Let's see. Let me make sure that's correct here. The next day, Terry and Paul are overseeing the drill of borehole F25 14.4, which is located 45 feet northwest of the N17 N.5 17.5. Well, I'm getting all tongue-tied. Tongue-tied saying these numbers.
Too many letters and too many numbers.
Yeah, exactly. A core sample is brought over that contains wood about 103 feet. According to Terry, the drill dropped from 99 to 103. So that means the top of it was at 99 and the bottom of it was about 103. So again, you're looking at about 5 feet right there, roughly 5 feet. And they were chasing the same tunnel, which was about 5 feet high, but at 104 through those other 4 holes. Now they're hitting at 99, and they were saying, well, we've hit another tunnel. They would indicate that there could be a second tunnel at a different elevation in the same location. They notified Rick. Rick comes over to the money pit, and then Terry explains that they might have hit a second tunnel. Rick tells the group to use the information to decide their next step. And then they are going to shoot now for IJ 15.25, located 16 feet south of the previous location. The one thing that I thought of, if this is another tunnel and it's like a second tunnel, is it one above the other is what they're indicating. That's going to make the roof of the lower tunnel very unstable, I would think, because that ground is not that stable overall. So somebody I saw in the chat that somebody had made the comment about, remember the guys who had said there was a spiral tunnel, like a spiral stairway.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah, they initially thought it could be like a spiral staircase type tunnel. Yeah.
Could this be that? I don't know. Could it be that this is that part of that spiral tunnel?
Yeah. See, we have no sense of direction for that tunnel, and like Colin says, it could be like if they've got to get up to a garden shaft height, they've got to get up from 103, 105 feet back up to 77 feet. So that thing's got to go back up in the air at some point in time.
Yeah.
Right, it's got to move vertically upwards at some point, and whether it does it by a sharp 5 or 6 foot jump or a 45-degree incline, I don't know. But if it's if it's 2 tunnels, one over top of the other, something's hard to say.
Yeah,
I was just looking through some pictures from fall of 2021, trying to get a timeline on when they were actually installing those Muon sensors.
Okay.
And again, I'm not 100% sure as I'm not staying and looking in the hole, but it looks like October the 23rd, they were in 2021. It looks like they were putting one in the Smith's Cove side.
Yep.
So this would have been
how many sensors did they ever say how many sensors they were putting down? 14 comes to my mind, but
I think it was something like that, but I don't know. I don't remember. But like David said here too, he said we do not know when they actually started collecting data from them. Do they had to wait till they get them all put in? Did they have to? I don't know. That's a very good question.
Was the first set of data no good? Maybe they had to recalibrate, start over.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's a Dave. Dave jumped on that too, saying that that's right, David. That the one thing is they installed. The other thing is when they actually turned on and started to collect the data, and we just don't know.
True.
Yep.
Which on the other ones you can see in this episode, the Muon, I guess, sensors are encapsulated in concrete. So even in the fall of 2021, they were not encapsulated in concrete. So maybe they were just prepping the area then, and maybe the sensors didn't go until the springtime of 2020.
And we don't ever recall seeing them running this underground cabling to them either, do we?
No.
You know, when you see that on the diagram, you know, the conduit between the different sensors.
Yeah.
Like, when did they do that?
It's true.
Yep.
It's very true.
Let's see here.
And the sensors have to be in an encasement of steel or something like that. They're just not. You see the diagram they show you on the show. Any of the research I've done on them, they're not just hanging loose in the soil. They're inside like a drill casing.
Well,
A
I
sealed drill
was
casing.
very surprised though, is that they said they could not dig within, what did they say, 10 feet of it, or 10
Yeah.
meters?
10 feet was their safety range. Yeah.
Which was kind of surprising. You think, well, that sonic drill rig hammering into the ground.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a Muon technology expert. I was kind of surprised when they said that. I was just drawn to it when you mentioned the thing. Oh, we've got to give it a 10-foot berth when we're doing this stuff. It's like, what? 10 feet? You're over there with this giant drill rig smashing into the ground, and it doesn't affect the sensor readings.
Yeah. You would think it would.
Yeah.
I would think it would. Yep. Let's see.
The sensor's collecting cosmic rays, right? Or
yes.
So whether vibration is going to affect that or sonic drilling will affect that, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, you would think that whoever's running that technology from the Muon would have to tell them, you know, they're the ones that set up those parameters. So you would think that they would tell them the things that are going to affect it adversely.
It sounded to me like the safety range was designed so that the drill didn't walk over or the drill didn't hit anything.
That's a good point too. And
That's
that does walk
too,
terribly.
And they didn't want to take a chance of hitting the whatever they had those encased in, and or the conduit or the power or the collection lines, data lines.
Yeah. Deidre says, if I remember correctly, typically these sensors are much bigger, the size of a car, which wouldn't be practical. This particular company has been able to get them this size. That makes me think that because they are smaller, you would probably need to leave them in the ground longer to collect that amount of data. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't
have to reposition.
Yeah. The Muon's devices are electrically data cables, so somebody would need to have them working all winter to keep them operational.
Well, we do know that the boys were out there like November, even into December. They were out there horsing around over the wintertime, which is extremely strange.
Yeah. Vibrations may not affect it. Remember when the Muon, the Great Pyramid. Yep. Oops. We got to get rid of that one, huh?
Yeah, turn this through. I can't get rid of it from here.
Let's see if I can do it. I just love this stuff. That's just wonderful.
Yeah. There we go.
Yep. So, again, it's I want to see that technology, and I think that's something that it's gonna, will that? And I'm curious. This is now that they've found this tunnel that they're chasing, going towards the garden shaft, and they get the data back from the Muon technology. If that Muon technology doesn't show this tunnel down there, then I don't know. It better show the tunnel, in my opinion.
It better show it. It's going to be pretty embarrassing for the Muon guys.
Yeah, because they found a tunnel. They know it's there. They put a camera down and saw the tunnel.
Yeah.
The Muon better find it. It better pick that up. Just saying. So, all right. So we've got. Let's see here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they keep heading over in that general direction, and hopefully they're going to keep drilling something there that's going to give us something more to chew on. And I see in next week's clip is, drop a camera down, right? They want to get something down there. So they're obviously finding something.
Right.
Yeah, what did he say in the last clip about a pedestal? I think Marty said.
Marty said he see what appeared to be some form of a pedestal, and what he meant by that, I don't know. I'd have to go back and see if I could capture that clip too. But
I got a picture of it, but I didn't catch what he said.
They are catfish experts, Rick and Marty. And the end of the show, they always get you hooked. Something really cool.
Yeah, tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in next week. So
they've got me for 10 years so far. I can't stop now.
It's been working for 10 years.
We're hooked. Yeah.
Oh, so hooked. Very true, huh? All right. So
hook, line, sinker, swivel, bobber, and worm. We're hooked.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I know they probably lost a lot of viewers from last season because of the fact that it was, it got to be toward the end there, and the guys were really hoping with the caissons that something was going to come up, and after 5, they got nothing. And it was just kind of wah. It was so hard to see them, and the money that it must cost to put them down, and they came up empty-handed, and all to come to find out that they were probably, too far to the north and west of where they needed to be. So, I don't know. But this season,
you talk about the concrete canisters in the money pit area.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't there last fall, so I'm wondering if they put other sensors down around Smith's Cove and those places over the winter, and didn't put these ones in until spring or summer this year.
I didn't see the concrete on the Smith's Cove side. I spend quite a bit of time tinkering around over there. I did not see those cans.
I think the concrete is just a protection
in those high, in those big work areas. So I think
they don't want trucks backing into them or driving over
down by the shore. There really isn't anything else on the go there, so maybe they are left alone.
I think they can drop them down a steel casing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. So next, the guys jump over to lot number 8. Lot 8, Gary and Jack head over there, and Gary gets pretty fired up about the whole thing going over there. He's in this area where they just keep finding more and more stuff. They have found those that one, it looked like it might have been a ruby. Turns out it wasn't a ruby, but it was a garnet. But it was really still pretty cool that they found. And some other interesting pieces that they found here. So there's where lot 8 is located, and they get digging right away, and they find this piece of loop chain that Gary is, we haven't seen anybody date this thing just yet. But Gary just figures it's pretty old. He said that he tells Jack that older chains have these oval links like this, and it looks to him to be hand forged. I would agree with that, hand forged.
Yeah. And they are thin to Jack, Jack mentioned the fact that he thinks that they are pretty thin.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're not, they wouldn't be used for a great deal of weight, that's for sure.
No, definitely want something that would break if they did. And again, they found that hook, that
bunk hook. Yeah.
Bunk hook. Thank you. They found that there too. That Carmen got a chance to look at and talk to him about.
What does Gary call that now? He calls it the giving lot, right?
Yeah, the giving lot. Yes, yeah, because it keeps giving them more and more all the time.
And if you look at any of the shots when they're walking through there, it's like flags galore.
Oh yeah, I know. And it was funny because I thought about that too when I was watching it again earlier. They walk right by a few flags that are already sticking up. I saw a few flags in the ground. They walked right past them and went over to this one that he pulled. And he goes, "Let's go to this one." And Gary, of course, knows by the tones that he gets from his two-way repeatable tones that he gets, which one is a better hit. They'll go do this one for the TV and then dig the other one up later or something, because I watched them walk right past 2 to get to the one where they found this.
Yeah, he's got an idea what he wants to dig.
Exactly. Yeah. So they come up with a piece of chain, which I thought was really cool again. And then they find this. And this is the piece that got everybody going last night. And we all saw in the preview, from last week, what in the world is this thing? So they go over to the interpretive center, next, and they start to look at this thing under the scope first. Then they take it over to Emma so she can run it through the scan to find out what it's made up of. And as you can see right there in this picture, it is made up of primarily copper, 94.5.
Yeah, it's 95% copper. Yeah.
Yep. And of course, you see that green tint to it, or the green, is that oxidation? Is that as it turns a green like that? Is that what that is?
Gives it that green patina. Yeah.
Yeah. Very little zinc, iron, and arsenic and rhodium.
Rhodium. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 0%, but yet it found it. I don't know. Must have been less than.
Very small trace.
Yeah. Just a trace of rhodium in it. But this piece, I tell you, it's really interesting, and those patterns. And I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, ever since last night's show now, people have been going out onto the internet and researching, trying to figure out what these symbols could mean. And I agree with, let's see, I got to bring up YouTube over here, Facebook over here so I can see. Oh, it's Anne Marie. Anne Marie said it looks like it could be from the Mayas. But we'll get to that as we go along here about the guy that was looking at it, the expert that was checking it out.
That's definitely an amazing find.
It is truly, and the fact that he talked about it being folded 3 times.
Yeah.
Now,
didn't he indicate that it was more of a European technology or a European alloy? I know someone mentioned about the First Nations, but they said like it's not from the Americas.
Right.
The expert was pretty quick once you get a look at it to rule out anything sort of, let's call it North American or, Mayan or anything like that.
And I think that part of the island they're finding a lot of stuff is because it's one of the more protected. I mean, clearly people were arriving by boat. I mean, it was definitely in the 1700s area. And they had slipways and stuff built on the other side of the island. And the other side of the island is the most exposed side of the island. So inside, I think this is where they would be making some reasonable encampment and doing whatever other things that they do. So
it's just not also near where they found that what they thought was a stone roadway up there?
Yes.
That lot 8 as well? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So it was a well-traveled, it's a protected spot.
Right.
And no, I personally don't find it. It's a huge, big surprise. And the age of the stuff, it's European. It's all falling within the era of the Duke d'Anville and his gang, and the French and the English were clearly in and around that area in the early 1700s, right?
Right. Yes. And that's exactly what Anne Marie says right here. And of course, also Dave was talking about here. But did they? I mean, I've seen in the past, I've seen where they had like a wooden box. Or you could call it a chest, I suppose, but a wooden box that was then covered with metal on the outside to give it the decoration.
Yeah.
If this piece was folded upon itself 3 times, if they unfolded it, then they're gonna, because he said, I heard Jack on the show say, it's got patterns on the backside, but if it's been folded and you unfold it, then that pattern all be on the same side? Yes, it probably then would all be on the same side.
Yeah. And back then, it's not that long ago, but I mean in the 1700s, when there was clearly a lot of activity in the Mahone Bay, Halifax, Nova Scotia area. How would they transport it? I mean, you think today I've got a suitcase. Back then, you carried everything in a chest.
Travel chest, yeah.
You would think that any of the officers, captain, anybody of any ruling power, I'd say, is going to have kind of a more fancier chest.
Yep.
And then everything else was carried in burlap sacks, which they've had, they found all the little sack markers, I guess you want to call
bag
it.
Seals.
Bag seals. And barrels. I mean, it's not like today you run around with plastic and Tupperware and a suitcase. It was It was all wooden chests and boxes, and dragged everything by animal chains. Rope would have not been
And if
as.
these people were coming here, they weren't coming for a weekend. They were moving. It was everything they had, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I wonder if they
exactly
can.
right.
I wonder if they can source that copper the same as they did the lead.
I thought about that, and a couple people in the chat have said the same thing. Like right here, Catherine said, bringing up copper item made copper from Spanish copper mines. We just don't know yet, but I don't know if that. Yeah, it's a very good question. Um, Possibly. I hope so, because then they could narrow down where it possibly came from. But and as we get on to where the expert was looking at it, we'll get somebody hit that take there too. But in it, I thought about this, Al, because Maddie said to me when we had him on the show in the season opener, and I asked him specifically. I know he couldn't tell us what was in the box, but I asked him about his impression. And he said, Jeff, when you see it on the show, you can message me. And I did. I messaged him. He hasn't answered me yet. But before the show tonight, I messaged him and said, is that what you saw in the little white box? And
I can't imagine this being the showstopper piece. I don't think this is. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very cool, but I don't think it's anything super extraordinary at the time.
I'm thinking it might have been that item that we've seen it a couple of times show up. That it looks like it's a brass piece, but it's got like a blue gemstone in it. We've seen the picture show. They showed it in the season premiere. I mean, they just showed a glimpse of it in the previews and stuff, but we haven't seen it on the show yet. Initially, I was thinking that's what he saw in the box. Yeah. But if you remember the look on his face when he was originally looking at the box, he was looking at it, trying to figure out what is this. He had a very,
it's very, very puzzling look, and it was found on lot 8. We know that.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many white boxes do they use in the course of a season? I have no idea, but
we've seen 2 so far. This one and the thing that was on a couple weeks ago, we saw it. It was in a little white box too, but so I don't know. I mean, I think we need a really. I think that if they can determine where the copper was mined from, that's going to be a good tell. And if they can determine the symbols that are on it in any way, shape, or form, that would be a tell also. And here's where they looked at the edgewise, and they could see that it was folded over 3 times upon itself.
I think Linda had made a mark on there. I mean, the expert that was on there, I mean, he seemed to be very quick that this was not from the Americas. So I don't think this is going to be any type of Spanish, and this was clearly European. There's lots of, military type activities that were in the area. And I think that's what it is. It was definitely from a box, a suitcase, we'll call it. And, I think it's cool. I'm sure it tells a bit of a story to tie in, but I don't think this is a earth-shattering.
And if there was any kind of encampment there, boxes could have got rolled, pieces broken off of them, trampled, stepped on.
Absolutely. Yeah. To answer your question, Anne Marie, yes, this was the lot was this. This was just some of the things they found on the lot. I grabbed that picture to kind of show that the chain links, the hook, and that brooch. Yeah. All found there. But this is the part right here. These symbols right here are what I think is going to be able to get them a little closer. Now, we know Emma said on the show that she was working on the symbols to see if she could figure it out. That
is pretty cool.
I thought, I don't know. Somebody was saying that this looks like this is the symbol for a mermaid.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out if that's what it is or not. But that's really the material makeup of it and what it was, what these symbols mean. If they can determine that, I think will be the answer to where this came from, and it's all they got to go on. Really, I mean, what else do they have to go on? But if it was folded 3 times and you unfolded it, I think it very well could be the wrapping around a chest or a box of some sort. And it would be more of a high-ranking person's box or a more, rich person's box, I would think in that day. Now it was just copper. Maybe a rich person would have bronze or something else around it, something of a little bit more value. But yeah, copper from the Great Lakes, yeah, from Superior. That's where the most pure copper came from, or still to this day, is up there in the Keweenaw Peninsula in the Copper Country, Copper Harbor up there. But yeah, I don't know, but that's the only thing that they can go by, I think, is these symbols. What do you think? I mean, what
I
else do
think
they got?
the symbols are gonna give it away. I think.
Yep.
They definitely got some cool tools and technology on the island for doing the stuff between the
Yep.
XRF and the the CT scanner, I guess you call it. It was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the middle symbol looks like a serpent or a snake. I thought so too.
Yeah.
And these I thought looked like, I don't know. I couldn't tell with two circles with the like ears on top or whatever. I don't know. It's just darn cool, whatever it is. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Jan said she's Googled all these Aztec, Mayan, Inca, Celtic, and could not find a match to these symbols. It may, yeah, you're right. It might just be the artist's rendition of who made it, and that was the other thing that Emma said about it being hand carved or hand created, handmade, because they're not exact. They're off a little bit. And if
it's not stamped, I guess is what they were. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But again, there's another look at those symbols. This one looks like,
with the computer technology, you think they should be able to actually unfold those layers, right?
Yeah. These two, I think, are identical, or I mean, not identical, but are supposed to be the same thing, because you've got this raised portion on the top, and then this image that looks the same on both sides here. So you got the raised portion up here on top, and it looks like, and this
it's probably
here,
a pattern.
yeah, this one here has this bump down here in the bottom, and then it has this loop, and then these arms that go up and around the top up here. But again, I don't know. I mean, it's just really, really interesting.
Yeah. People have suggested as part of perhaps a ceremonial breastplate, as Scott Clark had said for the, if the Masons were doing any kind of a ritual there.
Yeah. That was something that, when he talked about that brooch being part of the chest piece that a priest would wear back in Aaron's day when they had to in the tabernacle, and they were the only ones that were allowed to go into where the Ark of the Covenant were the priests that were ordained to do that, and they had to wear this breastplate on the front that had the 12 gemstones or nine gemstones in it. And he said that one could have been, one that fell off of that. And I thought, yeah, I wasn't on board with that, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
Now, if this thing turns out to be some sort of a religious piece.
So that stone that they found, was that encased in copper, or was it, I can't recall does anybody recall what the metal surrounding those gemstones was, or the gemstone was?
I don't think it was copper, but I don't remember. Does anybody in the chat remember that piece that I just showed? This piece right here?
Yeah. What was that surrounded with?
What the material is that was around it? Does anybody remember?
I can't remember.
I can't either.
But those guys would be wearing like a cloak, and it had a brooch, like a connector brooch on a cloak and so forth.
Yep. Sorry, it was 12 stones for 12 tribes. Yeah, sorry about that. Yep. So, and then there was images on the back too, which almost look like a reverse image of the ones that are on the front. I don't know.
There you go, Jess. Jess, you've got a mission.
I should run the page. Oh, all right.
Jess,
Let's see what you come up with, Jess.
Yeah, we're counting on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
You've got 1 week. 1 week, make it happen.
Yeah. 1 week, get her done. Oh yeah. So I don't know, man. This really cool piece. Yeah, the breastplate for the was 12 stones for the 12 tribes. That I forgot completely about that part. Yep, exactly right. But yeah, this thing is just too cool. I don't know. But again, I go back to it. I think it was something wrapping around some sort of a box. It was my guess,
Well,
but I don't know.
hopefully it's something specific enough that it's going to give us a, you know, a maker area source,
Yep.
culture, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have to go through this season not knowing what that thing is, I'm going to go crazy. I want to know what it is. This now we jump over to the research center, and we can come back to that at some point if we need to. But we're gonna jump over to the research center, and this is where Rick and the guys are in here taking a look now that they were in the money pit and they've come up up against a obstacle where their drill program is right now. And this is it right here. And this is one of the pictures here that this center right here is the one of the Muon sensors. And this circle is the 10-foot area that they need to stay out of, the setback area for it. And you see right now that the tunnel that they're following is going right into it. The red line here is the power conductor or power cable for the
Just a
sensor.
conduit. Yep.
The conduit, right? Which we never saw them put that in. I don't know how deep that is. It's not laying on top of the ground because we certainly didn't see it laying on top. So it has to be underneath.
They probably had to bury it just so that they could continue working on top of the ground there, right? So it's probably down a few feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to bury it at least a couple feet down there, right?
But-
And again, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but you notice the 10-foot radius, the
Mhm.
garden shaft falls within the Muon. Am I reading that right?
Oh, this is shaft 2. That's a different one.
Yeah, that's a whole different
Yeah.
one. Never mind.
Yeah, that's shaft 2. So then here you got this. This is that F25 and 14.14, and that is where they're at, right? Let's see. That would be down this way. Oh no, actually, F25. That's the one that's way up on top.
But what's amazing is, though, if you go back to your previous picture, is look at all the the drill holes to the left.
Yeah.
Right, and look at all the drill holes where they are now. That's why I say they're almost in no man's land.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. The one that we were just talking about is right there. So this is the track they're following, and now they've kind of run into this 50. They run into this roadblock here, but that's on the edge of that pattern. That's J 15.25. It looks like right there was, and now they're going to punch one in above it, which is what Rick talked about. So they bumped up right against it. But look, this is the picture I wanted to show right here. This is the one. Yeah, what Tom just said. All these holes that they spent all the last 9 seasons punching in the ground, and look where they're at now, finding the tunnel.
Yep.
But look at the holes over here.
If you go back to even your previous slide there, you're going to see just how far that drill is walking on them still.
Yeah, I know. Well, that hole right there. I mean, look at that one. If these are 5 feet, that's incredible how that thing walked. Some of them, it's crazy. But that picture right there gives you a good idea. But this is where they're following this track, and it goes right through. So they cannot. Well, he's going to punch a hole. See,
those gray dots to the top left, I think, are probably representative of the rocks going around.
Yes.
The garden shaft.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. This right here, and then this is where I finally got one right. One of my speculations was I had said when we were talking about these a while back, I think you and I were talking about this, that we thought that these might have been Muon sensor down in the ground and they were being protected by the concrete block or pillars that they put over top of them. And then turns out we were right. So we got that one right anyway.
Yeah, they don't want anybody driving on them, over them, or hitting them.
Right. And this is the 3 of them right here, here, and here, and then there's 2 more up on this other side. So there they are. And this is what they were doing. They're collecting the subatomic particles,
Yep.
and they should show any kind of voids. But as we said before, they better show the voids that are actually.
Yeah, you better get it right.
Yeah, you better get it right. Oh, that's an interesting picture. Yeah, Colin just sent a picture over. Yes.
I'll say
Ah,
that's compliments of my mom, actually.
really? Wow.
It said it
That's
was
awesome.
a captain's chest from 1762, which is right on the timeline of.
Wow, look at that now.
What do you think, people? Look at that, right?
Yeah. And I suspect that would be probably copper or brass, probably
Yep.
the copper.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which I think, and then hence why I say I don't want to take away from the find. I think the find is very cool,
Right.
but the area and the time and and the other expert said it's European. Like, there you go. It's a chest
Yeah.
with stuff in it, whatever that may be.
That's a cool old chest right there.
Mm.
Yeah. Look at the decorations, Wanda says. You're absolutely right. And it's got some kind of dating. Yeah. 17. What date did you have?
1762.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right there. 17 something right there. 60.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
And if one of those pieces should happen to get, broken off or
Right.
fall off, whatever, and get run over by an errant ox cart,
Right.
Yes.
And you wouldn't, and if you had that chest, would you be too worried about getting it and putting it back on? Probably not. You'd have tossed it and moved on, or it got folded up and thrown away or whatever, and move on and go without it on your chest.
Yeah. Might not even be the original owner of the chest. It could be second, third hand. Who knows?
Right.
And I think there's lots of stuff that gets left. You can imagine back in the day. So the French are there, or the English.
Yep.
And you're camped out on this island all by yourself. There's no cities, there's no power, there's no nothing. And all of a sudden, when the lookout says, "Look, Jesus, there's a great big, there's an English boat coming into the harbor. What are we going to do?" What do you think? I bet you people are splitting out of there pretty quickly, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I think that's where you find a lot. Like, why are you finding this equipment and pieces and clothing and boxes and different things?
Yeah, and during the war, there were raiding parties as well, right?
Yeah, because they found musket balls, they found all kinds of stuff that's there. The year Oak Island was settled, yeah.
No, that's Henry.
So, yeah. So all of the encampments on that side of the island is, I don't think, is unusual why you're finding these high concentrations of stuff.
Yep, I agree.
Because remember, on the other side of the island, kind of up on the embankment, facing more on the, I'll say, south and kind of southeast, I guess.
Mhm.
So it's facing out to the ocean. They were finding parts of muskets and musket balls and stuff.
Yes.
Because I suspect the lookouts, the sentries, would have been out on that end of the
That's a good
island,
point.
camping and looking for the boats coming in. And the main encampments would have been on the protected side. So if you had a storm or it's windy or it's whatever out.
Yeah.
That's
See,
a
to
very
me,
good
to me, what they should be finding, right? This is what they should be finding, right? They should be finding these bits and pieces all over the place. And that's why down around the swamp with the stone road and the platforms, they're not finding anything, which is, why the mystery, right?
Right.
That was blowing everybody's mind, is that they're down around the swamp and these, the stone roadway, and they're not finding anything. Why aren't they finding, stuff like this, right?
Right. Yeah, that's great points, guys. Yeah, that's really good. Yep. Very good stuff. This is where they're going to punch this final hole right here. Rick had said the guys. He said, well, the guy said 10 feet, and they were being overprotective with that.
Be conservative, yeah.
Yeah, so he decided that they could get away with just going about a foot inside the 10 foot and punching a hole right there, just to see if they're still following the same track of that tunnel that was at 103 feet This one
Mhm.
they were hitting the top of it at 103. This
Yeah.
particular tunnel.
Yeah.
So Steve projected it to go on, and it does go right on. If it follows the same track without turning again, it'll go by the maybe southwest side of the garden shaft, the west
And
side
you
of the
see,
garden.
they label that Muon sensor as the East Muon,
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting too.
yeah, yep.
If you try to tie that into futures, I'm sure we're going to see other maps and pictures to see is there an east to
I
west to
wonder,
set
now that you mention that, I wonder if we can
to
see.
orientate them.
Oh, it's too blurry. I can't tell. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna look
see,
and
look
see what
right
the
there.
picture. I'm gonna have to see if I can go back. Now I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find the other ones. Oh, they put that one right on top of the chapel shaft. That one. But that's just amazing. This picture right here just blows my mind because of all the money spent over here, and now they're finding a tunnel way over here where they have hardly any drills. Oh
Well,
my
let's see
goodness.
where that tunnel leads them, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's searcher, depositor, original, not. I mean, I don't know. Let's see where it takes them.
And again, the
Yeah.
thing that mesmerizes me with all of this, though, is no matter what it is, that someone would go and dig a hole 100 to 160 feet in the ground on an island in Nova Scotia. It's at least 300 plus years ago. Like it's really mind blowing
Yeah.
that
It
whatever
is.
it is, it's
It truly is.
And we say, 100 feet, 100 feet. What's 100 feet? That's a 10-story building.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, go dig a 5-foot hole in your backyard and tell me how that goes. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus.
that's a
And
10-story. They went down 10 stories
and
at least.
Nova
Yeah.
Scotia, I mean, it is rocky, hard, brutal. But that's a terrible place to do it. Terrible.
Groundwater pouring in,
Ugh,
Oh
seawater
yeah.
pouring in.
crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So the feat to do it, clearly wasn't because someone was bored. It was,
And it was done more than once.
it was done with great purpose and great intent.
Yep.
And it's anyway, it's very exciting. A decade later, it's still very exciting to even think
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's down 100 feet. Think of the stuff that they were finding down 160 and 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I say, number of seasons, I may hate to say it's years ago now, and they're finding the bones of people 165 feet in the ground. Like, that just, it's incredible.
Mhm.
Yep. I like this picture here because it gives us a look of where the C1. This is C1 right here. These are the 10-foot caissons they put in last year, and this one here. And again, this is where they're finding everything is over here. And I still think that when they punched that hole down at AB 13 last season, and they had all that air and water and everything was blowing through that hole coming up that pipe, that would have been right here in front of the garden shaft. And I think they probably hit that or one of the tunnels over there at that same time. That's what they released the
that-
pressure out of that.
That red box to the right of the projected tunnel, that's the garden shaft. I can't tell from here.
Oh, right here? Yes. This one is. That's the garden shaft
Right,
there.
exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Right there.
That's
And they
a really
think
great
that-
shot because it tells you where everything is relative to the other sort of key markers that we see, the head and shaft and things like that.
Yeah. This portion
That's a
down
great
here,
shot.
they know for sure because they've got the sonar, they've got the camera footage. They have drilled all along this path up to this green circle, so they know that this is definitely a tunnel. But now they're up here and they're finding another tunnel up here at 99 feet and punch through to the base of it being about 103. Rather than this one being the top at 103 and the base being 5 foot lower than that, about 108. So, what does that tell us? I don't know. They're convinced that it's a second shaft. Okay, Jess, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. She's got to get going. So I don't know. It just brings up a very interesting this whole thing about a spiral shaft or another tunnel. Was that a searcher tunnel? The dating of the wood of this, and again, I'll go back to this one last time, but the dating of the wood that they found down here, where they know it's a tunnel, dates prior to the finding of the money pit in 1795. So it has to be.
I wonder how far out these Muon sensors can reach.
I don't know.
Because they seem to be, whatever they got there, 4 or 5, pretty closely grouped. I wonder if they're sitting back now going, oh, I wonder if we should have moved those about 50 feet to the right.
Yeah. They should have had a couple over here on this side.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the one they're going to punch now. They were doing at the end of the show there. IJ 15.25. They were punching that one in and getting ready to roll with that. So we'll see. And they're thinking that's the other tunnel that they're chasing now. They're finding this one goes a little bit different, more towards right at the garden shaft. They're thinking. They don't know yet for sure, but they're thinking it goes this way. So I don't know. What's the yellow circle?
They're 100% going to intersect with a couple of those tunnels.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
yeah.
What are you talking about? This yellow circle? Somebody asked, "What's the yellow circle?" Oh, where'd it go?
The bottom of the screen, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. This one here, I'm not sure what that is.
It's some writing on it. Are you able to zoom in better on that?
Yeah, I know, but it gets too blurry. It's blocked out. I don't know what that is. If that's the one he's talking about. Yeah. This one over here, that's C1 over there. This yellow circle is where they're going to punch the new hole that right at the end of the show that they talked about. But if they're talking about this one, I'm not sure what that one is. I don't recall that. And Deidre might know from her maps because she's got maps of all these things. But I'm not sure what that one is. Yeah, this is tunnel 103 to 107. That's what that says right there. But I don't know about that.
Man, that's got to be getting some close to the shoreline, though.
That's what I'm wondering. What goes the other way?
Like that's way down there. I was to say way down there because each one of those blocks is what, 5 feet?
Yeah,
5 feet, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's a 10-foot caisson. So yeah, that's roughly. I don't know. That's showing. That's more than 5 feet across there. If they're 3, that would be more like that'd be about 9 feet, 10 feet right there. If they're 3 foot apiece.
Would they be
this
10?
Grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, these red circles are the 10-foot caissons that they put in last year. And if that's about 3 feet each, that would be about right there, I think, roughly.
Yeah.
But these circles may not be to scale either. I don't know with this particular picture, but so interesting stuff. Man, I can't wait to get down in there. Okay, so for the last part of the show, the guys show up in the war room, and now they're talking with Dr. Ed Barnhart, and that's him right here. And he is the expert that was looking at the copper piece that they found right here. And he said, and we had somebody that knows him. I guess it was found in, somebody was talking about this, but he was, the guy said on there, let's see, he is director of Maya Exploration Center. And to hear his opinion of the artifact recently found in Lot 8, Dr. Barnhart tells the team that he has spent a lot of his career in Mesoamerica and has also done a lot of work in North America and South America. He then tells them he specializes in archaeoastronomy, in ancient sciences, metallurgy as well, and dabbles in metallurgy, which gives him a little bit of background to figure out what this thing is. He tells the team, the group, that the geometric patterns do not help narrow down the region or the time of the piece. The time of the piece was made.
Yeah. But he was very quick. I mean, if he's the expert on the Mayan and American history, culture, like he was instantly like, it is not from the Americas. This is not from South America. This is not from North America.
Yep.
So,
yeah, there was no question in his mind that this thing was European.
Yep.
Hence we go back to the maritime chest from the, and then it's just a matter of how old is it? Is it from the 1700s, which would make sense?
Yeah. When asked about its use, he feels that it covered an object, and was most likely decorative, which is more of a common practice in Europe.
Yeah.
He points out that it could also have been a religious object. Rick tells the team that they will send him tells him that they will send him the XRF and XRD reports to see if that can help him determine what the piece is and how old it could be. But I think about like a Reclary. I know I'm not saying that correctly, but the Reclary box, again, wooden, covered in some sort of a metal sheeting. It's
Yeah.
Templar, baby. Yeah, I don't know. But hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that. I really want to know what it is. And I think I'm going along with him on this, that it was some sort of covering for a chest or a box, or like in the picture that you sent us just now, Colin, some sort of like decorative pieces, not completely covering the box, but around it in a pattern, a form of some sort.
But some of those old ones, like in that genre, they would have the really thin sheet metal, and copper was easy to work with to
Right.
almost give it a little bit of a weatherproofing. Not that it's waterproof, but it would,
Right.
For things that are outdoors or on the deck of a ship or you're moving around in a site, it gives it some weatherproofing, I guess.
Yeah, some protection from the elements. Yeah.
Yep.
Gothic and Neolithic. Yeah, so everybody's like been checking this thing out.
Those lots of I don't want to call it guesswork, but a lot of people looking today in different places to find different things that might be connected.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the white box. I know. Yeah, it was. It was definitely in the white box there, wasn't it? But I don't know. There was something else that they showed in another episode that was in a white box also. And I remember Gary pulling it out, but I'm thinking that wasn't what he saw. So I don't know. I don't know what this is. Copper was first used by man over 10,000 years ago. A copper pendant discovered in what is now northern Iraq has been dated to about 8,700 BC. Wow.
Yeah, that was Henry.
Yeah, but how did they date that? See, that's the thing, is how did they date that? I want to know how they can date that and find out.
I'm sure they will. I think there may be a little bit of a follow up on this one, but
I hope so. They better.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt.
This cannot be
they're gonna do their best to date and source that.
Yeah. This cannot be one of those things that we see it on one show, but then we never hear about it again ever. And this better not be that. Because I want to know what that is. All right, wrapping up the show, we see the guys coming out here from Irving Equipment Company bringing out the big crane. And as Colin showed us in the pictures that had, this showed up about June 24th, 25th, right in that time frame. Showed up, and they moved it up in its position that it sat in for the rest of the summer, which was right up on the hill above the garden shaft, and worked at pulling out, putting stuff, helping to lower stuff into the shaft as they were refurbing it, but also using the hammer grab to take out the muck and dirt and everything out of there too as well. So, yep. So there it is. There's a picture of it as it is. The top, at least, is now complete. And I grabbed this picture here. You can see the man side over here, or personnel side over here on this one. They're pumping in fresh air with this ventilation right here on the back side. And then this is the bigger opening that the hammer grab will do all of its work, pulling everything out of here. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's good that they brought that all up flush with the main surface too. So it's not going to be a collection spot for groundwater.
Yes, I agree with that. Yep, that's really good. So yeah, this was from next week's episode. I thought this was pretty cool. They're in the swamp
again.
Back in the swamp. They're going back in the swamp, and we're going to see what they're doing there. Huh?
They can't seem to escape the swamp.
I know, and I was trying to figure out who this guy is right here. I don't recognize him. He must be some. What's that?
I don't know who that is now.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who he was. I don't recognize him, so he must
Well,
be.
it looked like they were taking some kind of readings out there.
Yeah. Yep.
What's that strap to the back of or to the side of the?
I don't know. It looks like a cover of some sort. It's like a rolled up, like plastic back there in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it's stored to keep the water out, I don't know. Rain.
You wouldn't think you'd have to take it with you.
Yep.
No.
And Gary and Jack are very excited about something they found. Whoa, what's that? They saw it before they even got the got the pinpoint finder in there. And there's that piece right there.
Catfishy again, those boys.
What's that?
Catfishing, yeah.
Getting catfished. Oh my God, we found something. End of show.
Yep.
Yep. And there's that pedestal. And that's down in that's a camera shot. And my assumption that's a camera shot down in one of the boreholes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they made a comment about, grab the camera or something like that for next week for one of the I don't think it's one of the holes we saw this week, but one of the holes they drilled next week.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're saying we got to get a camera down there or something like that.
Yep, exactly. So that's pretty cool. So I don't know. We're gonna get to see what that is, but there you go. We're catfish to watch next week's show with that right there. So we got it. We got to tune in and check it out and see what it's all about. Let's see what else did I. Oh, that's what I had for a cover. But yeah, so that was it. So the crane shows up. So it's out there, and and we're gonna get fed bits and pieces of them getting deeper and deeper into the Dumas mining, getting into the garden shaft, and we're gonna get fed that. Obviously, if it's gonna take them, what would that be? A month and a half, 2 months, basically 2 months to get down in there. And then what, like Tom said, what do they do for the other 90 days they were out there on the island? So maybe they're going horizontal then and drilling horizontal. But again, I'm just really looking forward to seeing what these guys come up with for down in the ground down there. And do they get to tie into this other shaft that they're finding? So if they're only going down to 88 or so feet, 80 feet, they're going to have to go a little deeper to hit that tunnel at 103. If it stays at 103 at that level, they're going to have to go a little deeper to get down to it.
Or that tunnel is going to start to climb rapidly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's Marty. Okay, Youper said Marty. I don't think that's Marty. That doesn't look like. At first I thought it was when I first looked at this picture. I thought, oh, maybe that's Marty, but that's not Marty.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So, it looks like a big yellow rock. Yeah, that picture does look like a big yellow rock, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know. Interesting stuff. I don't know. Good episode. I thought it was another good one. So far, we've had 6 good episodes this season. We're going to get to see as we go forward here what the guys find. Let's see.
I got a little teary-eyed watching this episode. There's a lot of blue, nice, calm water in the morning, and I'm watching the show, dreaming like, oh my God, I wish it was summertime, and I should be out there.
The good news is we're one day closer to spring.
The days are getting longer tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, more daylight.
Yes.
All 3 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I did want to take this moment right now to, as you folks know, I'm not, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I'm going to say it anyway. Merry Christmas, folks, to those of you, that celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. We got that coming up here in just a couple of days. I hope you got your shopping done because I've seen the stores are like crazy busy right now. Everybody doing their last minute shopping. I finished mine up a while back, so I'm all good to go. How about you guys? You done or?
Never done.
I am your stereotypical guy. I've done nothing. Yes, on Friday in the storm, I'll be running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to do something. But
yeah.
Yep.
And Merry Christmas from this house too. As you can probably tell, Christmas is a little,
Yep, there it is.
Catches on around pretty quickly around here.
Yep. I've got my Christmas decoration right over there. It's actually out of the scene here right now. It's my Oak Island, that Oak Island ornament that has the piece of the wood from the money pit in it. And it's shaped like Oak Island that I got. thing. I got that last year, so that's hanging over there. So that's my decoration. I'm all set. So,
Dear
but
Jeff,
no,
I just sent you a picture. I hope you can share that one to.
let me see.
So this is my Christmas in the Cove.
Oh yeah, all right. We got to show this real quick. Hold on, folks. We're gonna show this picture real quick. All right, here we share that. There it is. Look at
There
that.
you go.
Is that where you're sitting right now, looking out
Yeah.
that window?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What a view, folks. Would that not be the awesome view to have right there? Oh my gosh, that is awesome. And that's where you park your boats every year when you're during the summer months.
When the floats are all in, everything's kind of hauled out in the wintertime.
That's awesome. Got the tree out there on the end of the dock. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody. We will have another show next week. There is no Oak Island show next week. The Curse of Oak Island is off, and they're going to have a new drilling down, I guess, next week. So we're going to talk about that. I'll probably do a phone line thing as well and have people want to call in. So this is going to be next Wednesday night, 7:30, just like always. And we'll have the phone lines up. You guys can call in. We'll talk about the drilling down that's on. I guess they're having like a drilling down marathon all day long or something like that. And then we'll probably open up the phone lines, let you call in. We'll just have a fun day with it. And you guys think of things you want to talk about. You want to talk about Oak Island, what's going on, your speculations, if you want to speculate a little bit like I do. And bring it to the table next Wednesday night, 7:30. I don't know who's going to be co-hosting. You guys are welcome to come back. We are going to have a party here. We're just going to hang out and get ready for the new year to come. And then I found out that there is a new Beyond Oak Island coming on the 3rd. It's on the 3rd. I don't have my calendar here. It's on the 3rd of January. They're going to have a new Oak Island. I think it was Linda, what was it called again? I forgot the name of the Oak Island. Shoot, I don't remember what it was. But then they have a Beyond Oak Island coming on too. So we're going to have to do double duty, I think, of the first week of January and have a show on Wednesday night and then another show on Thursday night for Beyond Oak Island. So we're going to be busy. Going to be busy with that one. So, yes. All right. Good job. So we're going to have a couple of shows, but just one show for next week. And then we got for those of you who like the January 3rd is a Beyond Oak Island marathon. Okay. Cool. So for
somebody was asking too if this week's episode will be shown in Canada. I checked the TV guide today, and the episode that was shown in the United States last night is scheduled to air this Sunday in Canada. So
cool. Good deal. Yep. And for those of you who do like the Skinwalker Ranch, we've got some neat stuff coming up for that in the future. Pete Kelsey's coming on the show. I've got him coming on the 12th of January. That's a Thursday night. So Pete Kelsey, he's the LiDAR expert who's been out at Skinwalker Ranch and also on Expedition Bigfoot. And then the following Thursday, we've got a group that has a website, or they have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page called Treasures in America. And these guys are going over and talking about the Spanish coming up from South America into North America, and also the Aztecs, and what were they doing up here, and what were they finding, and what did they leave behind? And these guys have been searching for all of that stuff. So that's going to be on the 19th of January on a Thursday night. So we got those two shows. We're going to have to figure out if they're going to fire up Beyond Oak Island again. We're going to have to figure out how I'm going to squeeze it in, and maybe I'll start a Monday night thing or something. I don't know, but we're going to have a lot of shows going on coming up. And then in February, I'm going to start talking about, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start talking about Expedition Bigfoot. Working right now to get Russell Acord to come on the show, Dr. Mariah Mayer, Ronnie LeBlanc. We got a lot of stuff happening coming up for 2023. It's going to be a good one, and I hope you guys are here with us. Last words, guys. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
All great here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Stay safe.
Merry ho ho.
Yep. Merry ho ho. Merry Christmas, folks. We'll see you again next week, and we hope you have a fantastic Christmas. and you get everything that you wanted from Santa. We'll see you next week right here on the Curse of Oak Island and be on the live stream. Good night, everyone.
Night.